Yo, what's up, YouTube? It is I, Otaku Gamer Lord Drei, back again with another Real Talk Rant and Rave video. And on today's video, I'm going to be discussing Kingdom Hearts. Yes, Kingdom Hearts. Most notably, the release date for Kingdom Hearts 3. I am going to predict it. Also, I'm going to share my thoughts on Kingdom Hearts as a series, along with what I feel about Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to have to divulge and share my history with the Kingdom Hearts series. Now, Kingdom Hearts is a series of games that is very near and dear to my heart. No pun intended. Um, I've played the very first Kingdom Hearts when I was about 10 or 11. I remember it was Christmas of '02, and by that I mean 2002. And I'd gotten a PS2 for Christmas, and I went with my dad to Blockbuster and we rented Kingdom Hearts because I really wanted to check the game out because I remember seeing this thing back in the day when Disney Channel was on. They had like a little sort of like a preview thing going on for Kingdom Hearts, basically to promote the game. And they would like show the game and they were like, oh, all these Disney worlds and characters, and it's some kid sneaking into like the game developers studio, which it looked like a fucking nuclear fallout fucking it looked like a nuclear power plant, honestly. And yeah, he was just they made it fun like that, like some little kid talking about info on the game. And it was basically Kingdom Hearts was basically a game that combined Disney characters and Final Fantasy characters. The worlds of Disney and Final Fantasy collided in Kingdom Hearts. And I remember looking at this game, thinking to myself, that looks pretty dope, honestly. It looks pretty cool because, I'm not too big into Disney. I know there are people out there who memorize like Disney songs and shit. I'm not talking like girls. I'm talking guys. And I think that's kind of gross if you need to be a fucking tool like that to memorize Disney songs and stuff. I mean, I can understand if you like Disney, but it's always been more of a girl thing, in my opinion. So even though I've seen my fair share of Disney movies, I've never really memorized them or anything like that. And most of all, I've seen them at a very young age. But most of my fond memories of Disney actually comes from watching the animated shows on television. Like the Aladdin show was kick ass. Yeah, that Young Hercules show, and of course the phenomenal Timon and Pumbaa show. And the movies I've always, I've seen them, but like I said, I don't watch them all the time. My favorite Disney movie, I would have to say, is Robin Hood because it's like one of the oldest, I think, and I remember watching that as a kid, and I'd watch it like over and over again. So, yeah, Robin Hood with the little fox. So they better put that world in there in Kingdom Hearts 3. But anyways, back on track. So the original Kingdom Hearts, I remember seeing stuff on it, and it looked really interesting. And I remember looking at the box art for the game, thinking like, "Holy shit, this looks like DBZ!" And like the Disney characters are being trained by the Z fighters. So I decided to rent it, check it out, and I fell in love with it because it was pretty fucking awesome. For a kids game, it knew what the fuck was cool. It had like really awesome, badass action. The graphics were terrific. The music was epic. The story was epic. All that shit was on point. And ever since then, it's also been important because it introduced me to the Final Fantasy series. After playing Kingdom Hearts, I started out with Final Fantasy X and loved it. And from there, things sort of picked up. and that was in middle school. Um, Ever since then, Kingdom Hearts has been pretty important. And I remember being really excited for Kingdom Hearts 2 coming out. And then when that came out, it was great, you know? Um, it was kind of dark though, and then like as time went on, I realized that I like the original better, and then like I moved on to Birth by Sleep, which I remember when was working my first real job. I picked that game up for my PSP because when I saw like footage of the game, I was like, wow, I can't believe something this good is running on PSP. So I had to check it out for myself. And Birth by Sleep is by far my favorite Kingdom Hearts game, because it was like a true return to form. It reminded me of the original, and that was great, you know. And ever since then, like Kingdom Hearts, it's just not as appealing anymore. Um, like Dream Drop Distance, didn't really think too much of it, honestly. And we recently got the release of Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, which is a free-to-play game. It's on like mobile devices, but it's basically a browser game. So I don't know. At this point, I'm not really totally feeling Kingdom Hearts as much as I should. Don't get me wrong, I'm still excited to see what they do with Kingdom Hearts 3. From what I've seen, though, it looks more of the same. So, but as for Kingdom Hearts 3, from what I've seen of it, when do I think this game will come out? I'm going to say I think that Kingdom Hearts 3 will be coming out in, I would have to say, 2020. Because, I mean, that's just how I roll. It could be a lot earlier, though. I don't care. I'm not totally into Kingdom Hearts anymore. I still respect the first game. I love it. And Birth by Sleep was awesome. But as a whole, yeah, I don't. I'm kind of burnt on the series, honestly. And the reason why is because of Disney's greedy ass. Like, they're constantly buying shit. They're buying Star Wars. They're buying fucking Marvel and shit. And I don't want to see Star Wars characters and Marvel characters in a Kingdom Hearts game. The reason why Kingdom Hearts was so badass was because it had Disney and Final Fantasy characters only, you know? And that's what made it so badass, because it made me care about Disney. It made me think like, holy shit, Disney's kind of cool, But now that Disney has all these other properties, I'm like, no, I don't want to see Sora fighting alongside fucking the Incredible Hulk, even though he's my favorite superhero. I don't want to see Sora fighting Darth Vader. That's for fucking Luke Skywalker to do. I don't want to see any of that. I will say, though, as with anything that's on the verge of being dead for me, the only way to recover from that staleness is to have a new protagonist, have new characters. So I hope Kingdom Hearts 3 just wraps up everyone's story, because I don't know what the fuck is going on anymore in Kingdom Hearts. I hope it wraps up Sora's story. I hope it wraps up every motherfucker's story in Kingdom Hearts 3. And then if they decide to do anything else after that, maybe explore a little bit in the Marvel and Star Wars territory, then have a new protagonist, have new characters. That's all I have to say to that. But as for my thoughts on Kingdom Hearts as a whole, not too into it. I'm still excited for the third game. It still has some of the problems, just looking at it, that I kind of had with 2, which doesn't really, like, doesn't have the original charm that, the original had. But nevertheless, I'm still a sucker for the Kingdom Hearts games. And I'm still looking forward to 3. However, I think that Kingdom Hearts 3, would be released in 2019, I would say. I said 2020, but I'm going to say 2019. And yeah, I'm still excited for it. However, man, Disney just acquiring Star Wars and Marvel just made me not care about Disney as much. But if they decide to continue with the Kingdom Hearts games, which is like the only video game property that Disney has that's actually badass, then end Sora's quest in Kingdom Hearts 3 and bring on some new characters. I wouldn't mind them hanging out with the Marvel characters and the Star Wars characters, along with Disney characters and the Final Fantasy characters, and maybe have some other Square Enix characters show up in there. I mean, they've had like the World Ends With You characters in there. have a few others, you know. But overall, though, that's all the thoughts I have to share on Kingdom Hearts and the series and Kingdom Hearts 3 and whatnot. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.